I am Dr. Kinyaju Nganga, welcoming you to Sense 101 Life Club, where we train, coach, and mentor people to achieve their God-given destinies. Sense 101 Life Club, inspiring generations. Reposition yourself. Well, two girls were born 17th of January, the year 1974. Liden and Lale Bijan. Like many other girls, they had ambitions, passions, dreams, and goals, just like you and many other children, except they were conjoined in their heads. And so they were slaves of each other's ambitions, goals, pursuits, friends, and choices. For instance, Liden wanted to do law in the university, and Lale wanted to pursue journalism. They settled for law and pursued it for 4 years in Tehran University, Iran. But at the age of 29, they were getting increasingly tired being victims of choicelessness. They were tired being victims of each other's choices and pursuits, and they wanted to see each other face to face and live an independent life. So they resolved they must be separated. Doctors unanimously warned them and begged them, literally, some of them kneeling down, that the chances were very remote for a successful operation at the age of 29, but they could hear none of it. And so on that fateful day, 50 doctors gathered at Trafford's Hospital in Singapore and began the operation. Regrettably, it was not successful, and they died within 90 minutes of each other because of blood loss. But what touched me most about this story is what the girl said moments just before the surgery. We would rather die as individuals rather than live without identity. I begin tonight by asking you, have you lost identity? Have you lost contact with yourself? Have you become addicted to a life without you? Have you lost yourself trying to pursue what you think people will like, not realizing that people will continue changing goalposts? You see, I honestly believe that there will be the explosion, the greatest ever realized in this world of beauty, of innovations, of creativity, if each one of us celebrated our own differences, if we lived our own lives. Regrettably, most of us are similar with everyone else. We live in a world where we have similar companies with similar employees, similar qualifications, similar experiences, producing similar products. And here is the acid test. If you tendered your resignation today, would your employer call you for a renegotiation? If not, you are just like any other kid in the block. You are trading on commodities. You are priding on your job title and your job position. And your job title is a commodity. So I'm inviting you tonight to trade on a higher ground, to trade on your personal brand. While commodities trade on prices, personal brand is only available from you. It can't be traced anywhere else in the marketplace. You see, butterflies have different colors, very beautiful colors. But butterflies do not appreciate their own colors. The human eye does. Sometimes your beauty radiates so strongly that it blinds us from seeing you properly. Sometimes the strengths we don't appreciate about ourselves are seen by people close to you. And this is why right now, I'll be calling you back to that childlike curiosity, intense curiosity of who you really are, so that you live your life. And I'll be urging you not to be an imposter. Stand out of the herd. You better be a nerd than be part of the herd. Be authentic. I know without a shadow of doubt from my own experience and that of many others, authentic people admire the real you, who you are. And therefore I suggest today Having a low opinion about yourself is not modesty. It is self-destructive. And having a high opinion about yourself is not egotism. On the contrary, it's a requirement for greatness. You've got to learn to celebrate yourself. You've got to learn to deal with the hand you're dealt. Metaphorically speaking, life is like a game of poker. You don't choose the cards, but you've got to win the game with the cards you're given. Some of us are tall, some of us are short. You don't choose your color, you don't choose your family. You don't even choose your parents. You don't even choose your nation of origin. But you've got to win the game of life with the cards you are dealt. None of us is perfect. None of us is flawless. Each of us is laden with historical liabilities. Each of us has secret fears. But you've got to win the game of life with the hand you are dealt. You must never be defined by your circumstances. Years ago, precisely on 13th of October, 1870, Ben Hooper was born in a time when kids were judged if they were raised up in a single-parent family. He was sidelined by the other kids, orchestrated. Regrettably, even ugly comments came from adults, and he began to shy from taking his mama for shopping, because every time he went out of his house, he would hear the same old question, "Boy, who is your daddy?" In the church, he would hear the same question. In schools, he would hear the same question. When he was 12 years of age, a new preacher was posted to the church. He didn't know his history. And as usual, the boy would sneak into the church after everyone is settled, and then sneak out before the benediction is said to escape hearing that same old question, "Boy, whose daddy are you?" Regrettably, one morning, the pastor said the benediction too fast, that the boy was caught up in the mix before he reached the back door of the church. The pastor caught up with him, patted his back, said, "Son, who is your daddy?" And you could hear deathly silence in the church, because now the boy knew the bubble is burst. Everybody's going to know the answer to this old question. Whose daddy are you? Then the pastor discerned the situation quick enough. And he looked at the boy in the eye and said, "Boy, I know the family where you come from. The resemblance is unmistakable. You belong to the family of God. You've got a great inheritance. Go claim it." And he left that church a different person altogether. He left that church changed. Many years later, he said, on that day, he was elected the governor of Tennessee. And I'm here to say circumstances should never define you. You must never be defined by your past. You must never be defined by what you have no control over. Never allow the shadows of yesterday overshadow the sunlight of tomorrow. Please, at any given situation, begin to find an invisible summer in the midst of your winters. Even failure should never define you. Your name is not failure. Failure is an occurrence that stretches your limits, that toughens your skin, but must never define you. Oh yes, Ralph Waldo Emerson was right when he said, "What lies behind us, what lies before us are tiny matters in comparison with what lies within us." Born with no hands and no legs, Nick Vujicic can't hold his wife's hands. He can't embrace his two sons. Gifts we so easily take for granted. But he never allows those physical limitations to obstruct him from embracing their hearts. You should see pictures of him taking the wife for outings. You should see pictures of him swimming. What excuse do you have for not embracing your family? If you're here tonight and you're around 40 years of age or slightly above that, and the years haven't been so kind to you, you don't have so much to show for all the toils, and you're still struggling with a childhood that has continuously dictated your choices, with a childhood that has continuously defined who you are. I think I have a message specifically for you. Because if you don't recognize the season you're living in, you will linger in midlife crisis far too long. And if you don't take some measures tonight, and in the next 2-3 years, it will permanently have irrevocable implications the rest of your days, the rest of your life. See, every single shift you've gone through, if you're hearing my voice, be it a child loss, a loss of a loved one, a relationship breakdown, a job loss, a business that went into flames, every major shift, perhaps you are conned and lost some land, defines who you are. The dots add up. Nothing is lost in the journey of life. Nothing is wasted in all this process. And every so often, you've got to reflect and realize you've got to put some shifts to a closure and open a new chapter. And I'm saying this because I've seen some folks come from the countryside to cities with many opportunities, but they never see nor seize opportunities. I've seen folks who leave their countries to more prosperous nations, but they themselves never prosper because they never reposition themselves for that economy. And maybe some of the things you're praying for, you are not even equipped, you're not even ready to handle them. You see, if glory comes before your time, it destroys you. And far too many people have been destroyed by gifts. They have been destroyed by the thing that was supposed to promote them. Because preparation must precede glory, must precede public appearance. Otherwise, you'll be killed by your gift. You'll be killed by the same things you're praying for. If you're not positioned to handle those stuff, often than not, God does not allow you to handle that which you don't have the capacity to handle, that which can kill you, that which can destroy you. He blocks it from coming your way. Today I want to examine some 5 key areas to help us reposition ourselves. Number 1, I'll discuss with you about illusions of success. Secondly, I'll discuss with you why reposition yourself. Thirdly, I'll discuss with you how to reposition yourself. Number 4, and perhaps the main body of my topic tonight, building a strong brand. Number 5 and the last one, reveal your brand. Reveal your brand. Number 1, illusions about success. Illusions about success. And I begin right at this point because we are living at a time where success has been reduced and narrowed down to one aspect, money. We are living in days that were foreseen by the first church, a time where people will be lovers of money than lovers of God. We can kill for money. We look for shortcuts to get money. So when we see successful people, we begin to gaze at the visible signs of success. High-end cars, exclusive holiday destinations, state-of-the-art homes. And perhaps we begin to speak to ourselves. I think they were so lucky. Or maybe they were very well connected. Or just maybe they had a privileged background. We get a reason to explain someone else's success. Not realizing when we are gazing at the visible, we are gazing at a mirage, grasping at an illusion. We prefer to admire the fruits without studying the roots. And when we do that, we miss something fundamental about success. A rudimentary principle about ourselves, which if not addressed, we will witness the same patterns in our lives over and over again and become prisoners of ourselves because we have never analyzed what success means and the route to success. And I submit tonight that real, irreversible, permanent success is internal. It is not an outside job. When I learned this truth, I enrolled in a program many years ago by Zig Ziglar. I enrolled in a growth plan. All-time audio cassette recordings, 12 of them. I have no idea how many times I listened at home, in the car, everywhere. But I can tell you each one of those radio cassettes, and my mercy bears me witness, I listened no less than 12 times each of them. My income changed, my joy changed, my blood became visible. The impact was so much that I actually named my own son Zig. And every single day I've lived ever since, I've reaped the benefit of that deliberate personal plan I took many years ago. This coming week, because we are leaving on Sunday for Egypt to take some of you to the Great River Nile for a serious reflection on my life purpose, a self-discovery journey. This week, what those people I'm taking to the Nile don't know is that I'm missing 3 corporate jobs to take them there, including an invitation to speak to the National Assembly, which graciously I asked Erastus to stand in for me, and he agreed. So he'll be speaking on my behalf in Mombasa this Tuesday to Parliament. And I can trace all these things to the time I took a deliberate step towards personal growth and development. In fact, when I hinted on social media that I'll be speaking in a conference in London, we got invitations from 4 different cities: Liverpool, Manchester, Nottingham, and Birmingham. And that's the impact of a deliberate personal growth plan. And whenever we speak about personal growth, I see people divided in 2 major categories. Number 1, there are those among us, and they are the majority, who think growth is automatic. Growth is deliberate. They don't need to do anything about it. Their business will just automatically get better. Their career life will just automatically grow. Regrettably, majority of you come from that school of thought. Then there's a second category in our midst. There are those of us here who do not know that they need a growth plan. And fewer do not even have the courage to admit as much. Let me interrupt myself for once. Please look at your neighbor on the right and on the left, and right eyeball to eyeball, and ask them, do you have a growth plan? Tell them again. Now, please tell them this. You need, point at them and say, you need a growth plan. Fair enough. One more exercise. Now, I want you, with the same enthusiasm, with the same joy, with the same passion, with the same loud voice you've used on your neighbor, you use on yourself. Speak as loudly as you can and ask yourself, do I have a growth plan? Please talk to yourself. Now say this, I need a growth plan.
I need a growth plan.
You see, what I'm trying to say is this. You don't go to an opportunity. You grow to an opportunity. Often than not, the footstep to success are the footsteps for success. Now, let me put it this way. I developed a growth plan 12 years ago. Many people didn't notice anything about Kenyanjui for the first 4 years, because when you're putting up a foundation, when it's below the ground, you don't notice it. You're digging a firm foundation, but when it starts getting off the ground, it gets noticed. I think you're more fortunate than I was. I was interacting with old type audio cassettes. You have a chance for live meetings that have never been there in Kenya before. Number 2, I was listening to a speaker in an American context. You are listening to one of your own who knows the struggles you go through in this economy. And I'll tell you what I would do if I was in your shoes, because there will never be change unless something happens on your inside. I'll tell you what I would do. Believe it or not, more than 50% of Sense 101 members, you're not deliberate about growth. You're sporadic. You wait for my articles to inspire you. You wait for videos. You wait for external motivation. which is skin depth. You're looking for marginal, peripheral changes. If I were you, I would develop a growth plan after this meeting, and I would decide to do 3 things on the minimum. Number 1, I would say I will deliberately purpose to come for the monthly forums. You see how interesting it is that none of you has ever said, look, I have eaten enough for the year, I'm not going to eat again this year. Or I will take a shower for 12 hours today and I close the chapter for the rest of the year. Yet you shower every day, you eat every day, and you starve the mentor, the main important pillar that holds all the other pillars. You starve your mental growth and expect change out there. If I were you, I would say this. I think I can spare 2 hours every month, and I can spare 1,000 shillings every month to invest in my life. Because you either pay the price for success, or by default, you pay the price for failure. The second thing I would do if I were you, the first thing I do when I wake up, the first 15 minutes, and the last 15 minutes before I sleep, I'll go to that website, kenyajunganga.com, for only 15 minutes and replay what we teach you here. Process this message, not once. Listen it for 15 minutes. Regrettably, some of you start your morning. I don't want to mention the show, the popular radio show. And some of you, during lunch hour, that's the time you're checking obituaries, who is dead. Believe me, if anyone close to you is dead, you will know. Why do you have to study as though you're answering an examination on the dead? And then some of you, before you sleep, the last thing you're listening from the TV is who killed who. No wonder you have nightmares at night. I suggest to you today, close your day strong with an inspiration. You'll have a sound sleep, and you will start incubating your vision and creating the right environment for greatness. Start your day with power. Close your day with power. The third thing I would do if I were you, I would deliberately join the cruise. Why is that? Because there are things I'll never learn alone. I'll only learn when I'm with someone else. Let me give you a personal example. Last month, I was teaching parenting to season 2 leaders. A lady that I think maybe she's in our midst. I think she could be in our midst. Is she here? She's in our midst. Erastus has confirmed. She told me, Daktari, hold on. I've read your book. I have followed all the principles that you teach. I did everything humanly possible to invest in our children. I prayed for them every evening. Yet, when our son was informed too, he was addicted to pornography and nobody knew. I saw it accidentally. What do you have to tell me? And that lady seriously challenged me, threw me off balance. I had to hear from